Hello, Unique Beauties, and welcome back to the How to See Your Beauty the Way God Sees Your Unique Beauty online summit. I am so excited today to share with you our inner beauty expert speaker. We have McKinney Hammond. Hi, Michelle. Do you want to say hi real quickly?
Hi.
All right. So, Michelle, let me give you a little insight of who Michelle is if you don't already know her. McKinney Hammond is a best-selling author, writing over 40 books and selling over 2 million of her books worldwide. She's an Emmy Award-Winning TV host, an international speaker, a visionary and leader of Relevance Ministry. She's a songwriter and singer, recording 4 solo CDs. She is an actress. Michelle has most recently appeared in Roma, Downey and Mark Burnett's production of Women of the Bible on Lifetime and AD, The Bible Continues. She presently does inspirational truth but fair segments on the new network, lightworkers.com and Light TV. Michelle is also a life and relationship coach. She offers insights, clarity, and strategies to empower and transform men and women all over the world to live and love to their fullest potential. So Michelle, wow. I mean, I was just looking over your about section. I'm like, how am I going to get this into a little introduction? So I tried my best.
You did very well.
Thank you. Thank you. So here on the summit, we're talking about how beauty is so closely tied to our identity. And I wondered if you could share with the audience a little bit about how your relationship with Christ has helped you to know more of how he created you to be, to walk in all of these wonderful aspects of your career.
Well, you know, we as people take our cues from external factors to create our identity of who we think we are in our minds for the most part. So we listen to peers, we listen to our parents, we listen to different associates that may not even be invested in our lives. There are a lot of people who want to name you and define you. And if you allow them to do that, you get stuck with that title. But the word clearly tells us in Ephesians that it's only in Christ that we will discover who we are and what we are living for. And so I always have to go back to the one who created me, because he had the original, authentic me in mind, and he knows me best. So I take my cues from him, because before the beginning of time, he had already made me the focus, had made you the focus of his love. So in that regard, our original and authentic identity is really in the mind of God. And in order to get that, we must align ourselves with Christ, so that he then, through the Holy Spirit, communicates that to us, so that we get that embedded in our spirit, and then we walk in it.
Amen. So beautiful. So beautiful. So you are such an example of multidimensional, purpose-driven, unique beauty. You really are an inspiration to women to know that they can show up fully as themselves and play multiple roles to walk out God's purpose in their lives. So one thing that God showed me about multidimensional beauty is that it's driven, including like your gifting and your passion and your purpose and your dreams that he's placed within you. So what insights has Christ given you about your beauty, specifically in the purpose, gifting, passion, and dreams? How did he encourage you to live out these aspects of your life?
Well, probably I would say that I've discovered that I'm at my most beautiful when I am in purpose. When I am earthlogged in my own desires, that distorts who I am externally as well as internally. But when I'm walking in God's purpose, there's an essence that comes out of you. There's joy, there's peace. And those are the best beautifiers in the world. Fulfillment. You know, when you walk into a room and you're just already full, you're not looking for attention, you just walk in purpose, already loved, already known, already possessed. Then there's this glow that comes over you, and it literally attracts people to you. So, you know, I always tell people, don't, you know, when they're talking about they want love and they're looking for love, I said, don't look for love, just be love, and love attracts love.
So profound, so profound. Yeah. So So in your journey, so you have all these different facets you've walked in, and you've walked in beautifully. So I'm curious, for someone who's just starting out, who's just trying to seek what their purpose is, what makes them unique, how did God lead you into going into these different areas of your life?
Well, I don't know if I was led into anything. My friends always say I'm kind of like Mr. Magoo. I just walk along and things just happen, you know, and uh, I think that God is always taking advantage of those instances to corral me into doing what he wants me to do, to be perfectly honest. I was laughing because, you know, I've been in London for several months now. And while I'm here, I've started a Zoom platform for women and have been writing some things and creating curriculum for my website that I've been promising to do for, I didn't even realize it, 5 years. So my mom said, you could have been in America with me. And it was like, no, because I would have just been taking care of my parents and I wouldn't have gotten anything done. And I couldn't be quarantined in Ghana either, because I would have been distracted by my studio and I would have been in there singing and making music and still not doing what God had put in my spirit to do. And so here I sit and I go, okay, God, I'm being a good little doobie. You finally got me. Okay. That even happened when I wrote my first book. You know, I wrote a chapter and then I forgot about it for 3 years until I got hit by a car and ended up laid up in the bed and couldn't go anywhere. And then my girlfriends were like, what happened to that book you started 3 years ago? So that's kind of, I hate to admit it, but he has to get me like that. So I was go, God, you sneak.
Yeah, it's so cool the way he works. It's like you don't see it coming, and he just gives you the space when we show up. When we show up, and that's so powerful. And thank you for being so obedient to him now. Like I was blessed by, I attended Michelle's online event last weekend, and it was so powerful. It was just so, there's something just about the community of women and, you know, the expert speakers that you have showing up, like they really speak into your life. And it really showed me that, you know, of course, being in community live with one another is always best, but it really was, you can have impact online. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah. You know, and, you know, I mean, I've done a lot of television, so it's a comfortable medium for me. But it's what's been rewarding for me out of that is seeing women from all over the world coming into one space virtually, and it makes the world very small. It's a small world after all. And to find that those women have something in common, whether they're from Abu Dhabi or Kenya or Chicago or the Philippines, Finland, we had over 15 countries represented in the room. And the women bonded and then they made friends on their own. And that's what it's all about. It's like bringing all these people together with a common mindset, a common heart, that want to be strong and whole and empowered to be who God created them to be. They come into the same space and they begin to share ideas, and it is magnificent.
Wow, so powerful, so powerful. So I wanted to quickly talk about, I didn't say it in your bio, but you have grace covers of magazines, and I don't have them in front of me right now, but I wanted to ask you, in that experience, you know, we're talking about on the summit, sifting out surface level beauty that no longer serves us. I just wondered, when you were going through the actual process of taking pictures and being in front of the cover of a magazine, I'm just curious, did God show you anything in that process about surface level beauty?
Well, it comes off, doesn't it? We can all beat a good face. You know, we all clean up well. So I got to stick with the word that says beauty is fading. You know, as the years have gone by, I look at some pictures sometime and go, wow, I was really cute then. I mean, I'm cute now too, but you know, it fades. We go through changes. And so the beauty has to radiate from within. You know, I had a boyfriend who was a model once, and he was so beautiful and so perfect. I used him in a commercial, and the director told the beauty makeup artist not to put any makeup on him because it would mess him up. You know,
Wow.
but I remember, you know, before we broke up, me saying to him, "You are one of the ugliest people I've ever met in my life." And though he was beautiful on the surface, his innards were not beautiful at all. And it shows, it acts out. We see the anger in someone's eyes, the tightness around their lips, the tightness of their countenance. And you look at them and you go, wow, this seems like it should be a really great person, but you have no desire to get close to them. So we have to know that, you know, God says that he beautifies us. And his beauty is lasting. It never fades. And it's something no one can take from you. Experiences try to rob you of that beauty by hardening you and pulling you into a spirit of bitterness and unforgiveness, different things that disfigure your visage, as the French would say. But God has promised to beautify us with his spirit, with the oil of gladness.
So good. So good. Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that about that boyfriend of yours, and, you know, how surface level beauty is only so much. Like, I mean, me personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with surface level beauty. For me, it's when I was defined by it. That's when it like killed me. And I love the way you talk about, and I'm seeing that consistently in our interviews, is people are talking about beauty as more of a character trait than a physical appearance. So I love the way
beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's very subjective. Someone could find one person attractive and another person look at them and not find them attractive at all. But character is something that everyone can universally agree on when it comes to beauty. They can say, well, she's not my type externally, but what a beautiful person she is. That's what they'll say, a beautiful person. So we need to be a beautiful person versus being beautiful. And it kind of sounds like you're just full of yourself and your beauty, but you're beautiful.
I usually just say they're pretty versus beautiful. I'm like, there has to be another word for just surface level, like just external beauty, you know? And I call it pretty.
Or stunning.
Yeah.
Depending on level of pretty, you know. So see, I mean, and that's the thing, there's levels, you know. So it's like, don't get bogged down in that, because the pressure is great. I was in advertising for many years. I worked with all of the most beautiful top models, and, you know, in the covers of Vogue and Essence magazine. And, you know, sometimes it was pretty intimidating being around them after they got their makeup on. You know? I remember there was a really gorgeous woman that all the guys were so excited we were going to do a shoot with her, and they were just, they were just over the top excited. She walked in, didn't have her makeup on. They were like, huh? I said, you see that? So, but it shouldn't.
Oh, that is so funny. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. So you shared a little bit that in this COVID pandemic, you've been working on the thing that God has placed into your heart. I'm wondering, you know, we're hoping to help women in this summit to restore peace and hope where COVID pandemic could have taken their job or a loved one, or, you know, just taking their everyday life and stirring it up. I wondered if you could share anything about, you know, where you are with COVID pandemic and what God is showing you in the midst of it.
Well, he's shown me a lot. I've lost several people, so I'm not on the outside looking in. I've definitely been impacted by it. I have been away from home now for almost 3 months because of it. I haven't been able to go home. The thought has never occurred to me before that I could not go home. So in many extreme ways, it's a reality to me. So for those who want to think it's an imagination, no, it's not. But I think that God is saying a lot. I don't think he caused it, but he definitely allowed it. And I think that he's using it for his good, for our good, if we embrace it from that viewpoint. that he's literally pushed the reset button and given us all another chance to realign ourselves and get in his flow as opposed to ours. I think that as people say, oh, I want to get back to life as normal, I go, what exactly was that? Because what was going on before was not normal. And perhaps that's why this came upon, the universe has its own way of calling a timeout when it gets tired. Sometimes it gets tired before God gets tired. God's very patient, but the universe says, I've had enough. I've had enough of your nasty planes and your fumes, and I'm shutting everything down, So we have to pay attention to that. We have to be sensitive to God's creation as well as ourselves. We're part of that creation, but there's supposed to be a synergy. There's supposed to be this organic flow between us that has not quite aligned itself in years past. And so I think that at this point in time, I know for me, I'm being realigned even in ministry. I have to say my relationship with God has grown so much deeper during this time as I've seen him actively moving and providing for me and caring for me and manifesting himself as a loving father. And it's been overwhelming. I kind of have a little bit of a weepy session every morning with him because it's like, God, I just can't believe how good you are. And haven't I known this? I mean, how long we've been together, you and me? It's like over 40 years. I should have this down, and you still keep pulling stuff out the bag, So I would say that I have learned a lot about how your attitude can affect your altitude at this point. You can say, I have to be at home, or you can say, I get to be at home. If I say I have to, all my options die with that have to, that duty. It's kind of like religion. But when I say I get to, that's a love space, and the possibilities are endless in that place. That's relationship. So when we look at religion versus relationship in the space of how we approach life, how we embrace everything that assaults us and tries to embrace us, surrounds us, we see that we get to make choices on it all, and I choose to be happy and joyful and fulfilled in this moment. And because I chose that, that's what I get. And it opens up options to me that I didn't even realize were there before. Things that I thought, I'm like, wow, So I guess I'm saying all of that to say that for me during this time, it's given God a greater opportunity to manifest himself in delightful ways. And for me to discover on another level who he is and what his heart really looks like.
That's so beautiful. I love that. And I love the way you talk about your relationship with Christ. It's you've talked about this prior to this interview too, that like, he just shows up and he just keeps showing up, and he keeps wowing you. Yes. I'm wondering, for someone who may be starting to grasp that relationship with Christ, can you give us some examples of some of the things he does that makes you go, wow?
I love how he confirms himself and his word. I'll get this little thing in my spirit. I call it a knowing in your knower. And then I'll be like, is that me or is that God? And won't he in the next 5 minutes send somebody and repeat the same phrase I heard in my spirit, just to say, like, I said, Michelle, do that, and then I go, okay, you actually cared about me enough to send somebody to say, yeah, you said that. That's fabulous, Or I had this instance happen where I actually had run out of money, and I needed to send some money to Ghana for some things that were going on in my home. And I was like, where am I going to get this money from now? Jesus, you promised me a different kind of year. I don't know what's going on here. And so I said, well, I'm looking at you, because you can't lie. And you said your name was Jehovah Jireh. So I'm looking for you. I'm looking at you now. I'm looking at you. So, and so I sent a note to the person in my house saying, oh, I'm waiting for some money, and when I get it, I'll send it to you. Well, I accidentally sent it to the wrong person. I sent it to somebody I didn't really know that well. They were just in my phone. So they wrote back and said, huh? And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I sent this note to the wrong person, but I'd love to send you some money. Ha, ha, ha. So he goes, oh, that's okay. Hey, do you do Zelle? And I go, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, why is he asking me that? Well, happy sanguine that I am. After that, I got distracted. I think I went off to do something. I came back. There was an alert on my phone that he had put $1,000 in my bank account.
Wow.
Like, what? So I said, it's got to be a typo. Is there something wrong? So, and it wasn't a typo. So, and it was exactly the amount I needed. So I sent him a note and I said, what just happened? What did you do? Because I really don't know this person. And he said, oh, don't worry. It wasn't me being nice. It was the Lord told me to give you that money. He said it was better to give than receive. I just burst out crying.
Oh my goodness.
I just cried because, well, enough said, right?
Yes.
I said, okay, God, you got me on that one. Point for you. You know.
It is so beautiful.
1,000 points. Oh.
It's so beautiful the way in your stories, it's so intimate. It's so like to your situation, to your need, he shows up, and he shows up in a bigger way than you expect.
Exactly. He really does. God is a show off. I would tell him, you're such a show off. I said, I only needed this. You just had to go there, didn't you? Just show that you can do more than that. Okay, that's cute. That's really cute.
I love the way you speak about your relationship with Christ.
I love him. He is, God is capricious. He's outrageous. He's spontaneous. He crazy. God is crazy. He crazy good.
Oh my God. So true. So true. It is my desire for so many women to know him for who he truly is. And to, like, my situation's pretty similar. Like he basically sat me down and said, and I envisioned like this curtain, like on a theater. And he said, let me just show you the most beautiful love story you will ever see. And I'm just like, wow, like, you are the man.
He is. I asked him one day, I said, if I got married, would you still spoil me the same way? Because that would might color my decision. If you're going to step out and leave this person who doesn't know what to do, I don't know.
It's so funny. Yes, I know. It's like, he is the king of romance. He is the king of just love, unconditional love. Yes. And he's continually showing me like, hey, I like design and created romance. Like, I am like anything that awes me. He's like, I created that too, and like, let me show you a little bit of how I created this. And it's like,
exactly.
Mind blowing. So amazing. So amazing. So as we close up the interview, I wanted to ask you, do you have any takeaways that you want to leave the women of the summit?
Well, the first thing I think is that everyone really needs to get and internalize that God really loves them, that he's the only perfect father and he delights in spoiling his children. But he also longs after us to crawl up into his lap and love on him. That's all he created us for, was to be whole and holy, and that wholeness is found in his lap, sitting there, allowing him to embrace you and pour himself into you in ways that you could never imagine. I've been watching this series, and the man that this woman is dating is like so unbelievably perfect and amazing and strong and loves her to bits, and just she can do no wrong in his eyes, and everything he's able to put a positive spin on it, even when she's being an idiot. And I was like, God, where's that guy? And he said, here I am.
He said, here I am.
Here I am. I'm it, baby. And I'm like, you're right, because there's no human that's like this. This is why this is TV, but I'm loving it, But But that is the takeaway for me, that the joy and the fulfillment and the peace that you're seeking is found in only one place, really. Everything else is an add-on. It's like everything else is the extensions, but you got to start with a good head of hair.
Got it.
You got to start with a good head of hair to hold on to the extensions, or the extensions will just slide off. That's what happens to our relationships and everything else.
I love the way you're using beauty to like bring in the message.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, that I have this very similar, kind of story in that for me, it was like the perfect dad. That's what I wanted. That was my heart's cry. And what God showed me is you've always had the perfect dad.
Yeah.
You just didn't realize it. And that these worldly relationships are just extensions of his love.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's so powerful. So powerful.
And when we know what he really looks like, we're attracted to him and not all the other stuff that isn't good for us, that's toxic, that mars our beauty.
Yeah, so good. Wow. Wow. Well, Michelle, wow, this has been such a powerful interview. Thank you so much for being a part of the summit. We are so grateful to have had you.
Thank you.
So, beautiful ladies of the summit, thank you so much for tuning in today. Go ahead and take some time to reflect on this powerful interview. I'm going to have some links in the email and also in the video to keep in contact with Michelle. You should check out her series that she's doing right now. These powerful online Zoom calls have been really life transformational for me as well. So go ahead and check that out, and I will see you in the next interview.